Hello and welcome to the sixth episode of Thinkshala. We are the three musketeers of Thinkshala. That's Smitha, the chief ideator, Prashanth, the ideator and the communication scholar, and myself, Mansi, a trainer and a consultant for digital media. Welcome, Smitha and Prashanth.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mansi.
ma'am.
Awesome. This is good to have you guys back, and this feels so good during pandemic times and lockdown to even talk to like minded people. This feels awesome. Okay, so as we discussed, today's topic is writing for media. Considering that we all are communication specialists and we come from that background, we thought this was like the best topic that we could talk about. So, to start with, Prashant, I have a question specifically for you. For those of them who want to start writing, because we look at this, communication students day in and day out, and they want to write but they just don't know where to start, what to do, and how to do it. So, where should they start?
Wow, a very interesting question, Mansi. Where do I start? You know something? Many a times I've seen my students mentioning it that uh, this year resolution. Okay, I'm supposed to write an article. At least I should publish an article. I should start writing my book. Uh, at least in the worst case, a snippet to be published. Okay, I actually remember a quote of Arvind Adiga where he says that I was looking for the key for years, but the door was always open. So it's quite interesting, because we all keep thinking, okay, when do I write? How do I write? What do I write? The problem is that pen is with you, paper is with you. You're supposed to start putting your ideas on the paper. But I always keep thinking, okay, if somebody looks at my story, do they think it is quite terrible, or are they going to comment on it? What kind of opinion they're going to have on my writing? I just keep thinking. At some point, I forget that I'm writing for my expression, not to impress anybody. I have seen for the last 1 decade with all my students coming back to me saying that, sir, okay, I really want to write, sir. So where do I start? My question is that on what you want to write, just go start writing. It can be any crap, doesn't matter. But there should be a point of your own self-inspiration you should think of. Somewhere you should say that, okay, let me begin with this. Let me start the best write-ups of the world, if you just go and look for, everybody will say that their first 1,000 articles whichever they've written, it was trashed. And later on when I will come back, and when they've looked upon whatever they've written, they've edited it 90% on and on and on, and they've finally given out something refined version. I just remembered, because throughout the world on writing, on creative writing, there are various courses given away. Among them, one university called as Harvard, where which has already, they have given out 48 Nobel laureates, okay, to the world. At the same time, 48 Pulitzer Prize winners. So there are a lot of credits to them. So if you just talk to any of that a school faculty or student, they would say that we just put art in front of a student, we ask them to express themselves. We never teach them the art of writing. Instead, we just ask them to experiment by themselves. So it is not a question of where, what, how. You are supposed to start, and that starting should be from you.
I think that's a great way of putting it together. Just start, just start. I think that's lovely. Um, See, whatever be the writing, I feel that there's certain amount of creativity that is required. And some opine that creativity is inherent, and some people say creativity can be learned. Okay, I feel that everybody is creative because not two people. I mean, I can't find two people alike. I haven't found two people alike, even if they're identical twins, right? So they're so different. So I feel that everybody is unique and everybody is creative. So I want to understand, Smitha, from you, what role does creativity play when it comes to writing? How much or how less is it required? Does it even matter?
Uh, Talking about creativity, I feel that each of us have it in us. It is it is something which every person has it. It is not that I have it and somebody else who doesn't practice any kind of a creative form of art doesn't have it. It is every one of us have it. The realization, the want, that urge to uh, experiment with it, uh, that happens in different ages, at different stages of life, rather. So when you take writing as a creativity, I would say that it is more a form of expression, right? Writing is a form of expression. So when we express something, it can be in any form. Writing can be a prose writing, or it can be just text writing, or it can be in a poetic form, or in a storytelling form. So these are the different ways we take up, right? Uh, I would say that um, going, it's continuing with what Prashanth was mentioning, that just pick up and start writing. uh, this is as simple as detoxing, or de-stressing kind of a thing. Okay, writing. So if you go to any therapist, that's a psychotherapist, or whoever counselor or anybody, they nowadays they stress on this point about journal writing, right? So end of the day, a day you just sit and write what all happened through the day, or in the beginning of the day, before you start doing your work, just plan. So that also is writing, right? So these are different ways of writing. And it doesn't need, you don't have to go to a class or go to a teacher to understand, okay, how do I make this creative, right? No, it is very simple. Write it. A very simple example to writing as such, that anybody can pick up a pen and paper and start writing. And let us decide, is it a piece of art or not? It is left to the person who is reading it, right? The finest example in history is Annie Frank. Annie Frank, who was a victim of the Holocaust, and who was shut in a room. And as a 15-year-old, she had a book and a pen. And she thought the best way to entertain herself as a child was writing. She wrote. She did not write to publish her diary. No, it was a diary writing. Just the writing, her feelings, a 15-year-old's feelings, what is happening, how does a day, this very much brings to me, a simile like our lockdown. You're also locked down, or a quarantine person can come up with the same simile, right? So you write. She wrote something, and today I think it is one of the most published, many times published, and most read book, and also translated in most of the languages. Correct? A 15-year-old writes a diary and it is read by everybody of all age groups. Correct? So this is writing for me. Writing can be done by anybody, and it doesn't need any creativity. It's a form of expression.
Very beautifully put. See, for me, when you're talking about writing, there are two elements to it. Okay. See, every speaker should be a good listener. So I also feel that anybody who is writing, if they are well read, hopefully not influencing their style or presentation, I think they will have a better chance of putting it together better, not because they're copying it from somewhere or they're getting even inspired from somewhere. It only increases your dictionary, right? Your memory of language, your words that you can remember. It just increases your knowledge in terms of words itself. So that's what I feel. That's the first element. So I feel that anybody who wants to be a better writer could also be well read in terms of knowing what to present and the language. I see a lot of students day in and day out in the communication space who want to write, but they are like, "Ma'am, English." And they don't come from an English background sometimes, because I mean, who comes from a English background in terms of having the mother tongue as English in India? I want to know who is that. Okay. They're very less people, right? I mean, you have a very different language at home, and then today you want to make a career out of it and you want to write in English. So I feel that these are two barriers that students today face when it comes to writing. One is knowing how to present it by not being a voracious reader. Another is language itself. So what is your opinion about it? Prashant, I think we'll start with you. What is your opinion on this?
Oh, okay. Now, I think both of you have given two interesting aspects. One end, Smita ma'am shared that how important creative writing is and how an extraction of a creative content from a thought process can be a beautiful write-up. Other end, you were talking professionally, how do I make my career? Okay. Now, because writing is a career, we all know that when it comes to especially our particular domain, journalism, it all demands, your basic skills of writing. So I just want to say a small demarcation between both of them. When it comes for a generic writing, firstly I'm supposed to brainstorm my ideas. Once I brainstorm my ideas, I'm supposed to gather more information. Once I start collecting more information, I'm supposed to organize and select appropriate information to be put in my draft. After putting all my thought process together, my first draft is ready. Then I go on tweaking it, I go on polishing it, then I just go for relook. So this is for my general writing. But when it comes for specifically media writing, I put my readers first. Very simple as that. I should remember that I am writing for my readers. So what do I do? There are some basic principles which is taught in our own schools for way back. If India is celebrating now 100 years of journalism education. Okay, so very interestingly, in 1920 we started media education in India, and we have, I mean, excellently completed 1 century. Okay, it is a pride moment for all of us. So where from last 1 century, that is almost like 10 decades, they've taught us that when I write for media, I'm supposed to use simple words, very short sentence, avoid jargons, write with verbs and nouns. Okay, always ensure that there is an improvement in terms of readability. So focus upon the content which has facts, which is much more precise and concise, and given it to a reader, he feels that it can be consumed in one take. So this is a very simple demarcation, but where when it comes to the ground principles of writing, everything is same. How do I mean, brainstorm my thoughts and how do I put it on a paper?
Correct. This talks about a structured writing, right? Like when you say that there are people, see both these elements of the canon. So whoever your audience is, uh, the expression, that creative expression should be there. Correct. That talent, that is a talent, the creative talent should be there. So in one case, what Prashanth is mentioning is a professional writer who is writing for a media. So it can be a news item, or it can be an opinion piece, or it can be a review, right? So here our boundaries are set. The language, the kind of approach, that is the structure of the text, everything is well defined here. And then you have one more where there is a free flow of thought. I go back to Mansi, where she mentioned about the students wanting to write, but they have a language problem, right? See, this is the dilemma what we are facing in the Indian context as such, the current generation. The current generation, the education system, we know our mother tongue, that is a native language, spoken. Okay. When it comes to writing, it needs more. That is, it needs some knowledge of grammar, and it needs a much more scientific study, right? That scientific study is missing. That is why the students today they do not see. We should understand this, that how much ever you try, you are not a native speaker of English. That is not your native language. Okay, so your native language is your mother tongue. That is, anything you see, the response, the reaction, it happens in your native language, right? So you get hurt, you say amma, you don't say mom. Correct. Simple. It's a simple example I'm giving. So this has to be understood by the student very early. That means even this is not one side. This is two side. The education system and the receiver, the transmitter, the receiver, both of them should understand and impart that. The language has to be learned, in a very systematic way, be it till 10th standard or be it till the 12th grade, or you take it up as a degree subject. It is your choice. But it has to be understood scientifically. And if it is your native language, then your creativity flows in that. You should remember this.
Very
Creativity
true.
flows in that language.
Very
So
true.
this is where I see nowadays students are totally confused. They want to, because the English language gives you a wider audience, right? And they can reach anybody across the oceans. That is a global language. And another aspect is their own people, right? People who speak English, but they may not understand what you write in English, right? There are two sets of people. Now you have to decide what audience you are writing to, and you have to hone your language skills. That is in which you are the medium in which you are expressing yourself. So these are the two aspects I feel that are very important. And coming to the creative writing as such, see, when it comes to the writing to a media where a structure is known, there the language, the vocabulary, and the grammar, works well, because there is a boundary, defined boundary. But when it comes to creative writing, let us say I want to write a poem, you really need to think in that language. So here, you have to you have to pick up what am I writing, and that is, am I writing a poem, a creative form, or am I writing for? I'm writing something. I'm giving an information. I'm just giving an information to somebody. Correct. Both need creativity. I don't say that they don't need creative, because they need creative. That is the best way you can attract somebody or please them, and how easily the reader is, or a listener is going to understand that information. So this, I think, this is my take on the whole writing, or the creativity in the current scenario.
I think,
Prashant can add something to it.
Prashant, do you want to add something to this?
Uh, so, one thing we can just, come to a conclusion saying that throughout the world, writing simply means to express, to record, or even to create a meaningful moment. But how do I do it? Whether it is with a professional approach or a creative approach, at the end of the it is me who decides how I want to express. So, as ma'am mentioned, creativity actually it is an inbuilt quality which is within us. But somewhere at some point, I'm supposed to identify that how do I just give that a magical touch for my creativity to make it to blossom, and I just ensure that entire world loves it. For example, the peacock behind ma'am's Smitha ma'am's art, beautiful painting, ma'am. So where she has expressed that one peacock with very vibrant colors, okay, which looks very beautiful. Okay, now if I want to start my writing on that peacock, I would start with what kind of a creation it is. Okay, at the same time, I may talk about its specific features, its specific pattern. I would talk about the colors. I will talk about how people, how unique this particular species is, and how much colors it adds for our life. It is all left to my imagination. At the end of the day, how do I put my imagination to the reality is what all about. Because I think we can clearly say that creativity is nothing but your imagination. And how do you give life for your imagination is what your expression.
Neat. Um, let's put it this way of what I learned from the two of you, your opinion. Language matters, okay, and the way you choose language depends on whom you want to read. So if it's more like information that you want to give to the entire world, if you've got people all over the world who can only probably consume English, then probably English is the best way. If you're looking at infotainment, or if you're looking at more to do with your own creativity or a storytelling, then I think native language would be the best, because as Smitha mentioned, it will flow. It comes naturally to you. It's not something that is learned. So I think that that's better. So this is what I could make out from the conversation that I'm having with Smitha and Prashant. See, when we're talking about language, we talk about grammar, we talk about the hold, we talk about the vocabulary. But with advent of social media, I really don't know where is grammar. I cannot see it. The tone is so different. Anything and everything is acceptable. So, see, I mean, communication in the true sense is more to do with I communicate, you have heard it. Are we on the same platform? That's all communication means, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what language you use, what is the body language that you use, nothing. As long as you're able to understand what I'm trying to say, that's communication. So social media has come in, and that's totally defined communication in that way, that I tell something and what you understand, if we are on the same platform, that's about it, we're done. So considering that, okay, today, if people really want to write for social media, I'm not talking about blogging, I'm not talking about digital as such, web as such, I'm only talking about social media here. When people want to write for social media, and not only just write, okay, the content format could be different. It could be an audio, it could be a video, or it could just be plain text. Okay, when we're talking about it in that context, most people write because there is pain, or there is sadness, or they want to show something that needs attention. Okay, and when I say pain, sadness, I'm coming from a point of citizen journalism. Okay, that's something that is picking up today. And when it comes to writing for social media, because yes, putting out pout lip photographs is one side, okay, the nice thing, and the travel and friends and family and food, that's one part of it. But that's more to do with a two-line, three-line description about what it is and the feelings and the emotion. But when it comes to real writing, it's all about citizen journalism. That's what I feel social media is being used for today. So I want to ask the two of you, in your opinion, what exactly is citizen journalism?
Okay, let me take the opportunity. Let me answer first. It's always easy to answer first because you get all the points, whatever you know, to put it across. So, Mansi, as you clearly mentioned, very interestingly, a traditional form of media writing is all about, firstly, we add a pattern of writing in a pyramid style. What is this pyramid style? I used to have an introduction, a quite detailed body, then I used to get into conclusion. Later on, after a few days, where entire world was so busy, they don't have so much time to give for the content. So what did they do is that they started presenting the news in an inverted pyramid style. This inverse pyramid is nothing but where I just give the crux of the story as a lead, then I just try to explain in detail and complete my story. Okay. Now, if I try to compare professional print writing to web journalism, it's very simple. Where I just try to give the gist, okay, in 2 lines, and I just wind up my story when it comes for social media or new media. But when it comes for a print, I have a liberty of space. Okay, it doesn't mean that in web I don't have space. Here, everybody just keeps scrolling. Nobody want to wait on a story and just want to spend their entire day on the particular story. No, but where I enjoy the luxury when it comes for a print media to understand the in-depth introspection, what is being done by the writer.
Prashant, are you there? Prashant, you're on mute. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please go on.
Okay. So when it comes for uh, a print media, where I have a luxury to enjoy every small but when it comes for web journalism, I'm supposed to share the crux. For example,
Prashant,
if
I
you just
think we
like,
lost you. Prashant, I think we lost you when you were talking about print media. Could you please repeat that?
I'm sorry. So when it comes for print media, I take the entire day to look at the writer's perspective, how he has expressed, how he has given in detail introspection about a particular event. When it comes for a digital media, where I just look at the crux of that entire story, I just keep scrolling up. I don't want to spend my entire day with them. For example, LinkedIn has cut 6% of its workforce as a pandemic slabs recruitment. That's all over. The story is done. But when it comes for a typical newspaper, I just get to read exactly in detail what all happened. Okay, I can enjoy that, why this particular company has taken this particular scenario, and how do they justify this particular scenario. For example, very interestingly, I like the statement, okay, where many major tech companies have avoided the brunt of pandemic economic fallout, but LinkedIn revolves around helping people to search for jobs. Imagine now a story writer, when in his one of his detailed article, what he has done is that he has actually in one side he has criticized that how LinkedIn has cut short his workforce, on the other end how it is supporting for an individual to search for a job. Yes, given a justification and a balanced approach for a story in detail. But I cannot enjoy such kind of luxury when it comes for digital platforms. This is my personal perception. As an expert, I want Mansi and Smitha to talk about this more.
Okay. Yes. See, when you talk about citizen journalism, you know, that is, it directly relates to the print media. So there was a time when citizens could be entertained in the newspaper, in the print media, especially the newspaper, was when I could contribute to the letters to the editor. There, that was the start and the end of citizens' role in the newspaper. Am I right? That was
Very
it,
true. Very true.
right? So, and again, I could write, and it was a choice of the editor to publish me or not. Correct? But that that particular constraint has been removed. Now, each one of us, with the social media and the digital platform open for us, uh, we have become walking, talking journalists. So anything we see, we go for a morning walk, we see something, we click a photo and we post it, and that goes viral, and it is unimaginably faster than the newspaper. Right, the newspaper, actually you get a day old news, and even the TV cannot, but my mobile phone can do all this, right? So this is the power of social media, that each of us have now. We think that we can change the world. Nobody can stop us. I think this is wrong. Then immediately I do not go to check the background. It is my perception, my perception, that this is wrong, and I just post it. Right, there is somebody else there, again the person is not trying to understand what is the context, or is not even wasting a single second to reply to that posting. Yes. So this is a kind of citizen journalism has we are seeing today. Everybody thinks they are activists. Everybody is out there to correct the world, do right the wrong. Correct. Everybody has been given, have been empowered to do it. But how right it is in the wake, it is a simple thing. Uh, what is the authenticity of the of a post? How do I know that it is uh, it is fresh? It is not a, let us say it is not a year old post. How do I come to know? Correct. One is that authenticity is very important. So citizen journalism is good, but again, citizen journalism journalists should not feel that I can do everything. No, you can't do everything because, as I said, they should not get into the activist mode, right? That is what is happening with citizen journalism as of today. Mansi.
Uh, Smita ma'am,
Yeah.
somewhere, I like the dimension you gave. Okay, you're talking about the authenticity. I just want to add one more element, that how much we own the content what we post, the responsibility of a citizen when he tries to mention anything on any social media.
Yes.
I think no war was won on social media until today. We're supposed to be happy about it. Everything
No,
was
we feel that the it has made all of us. When you talk about responsibilities, that is, there was a time when people would go out on strikes. They would strike work and take a black flag or a red flag or whatever color flag they wanted to carry, and they would go to the city center and they would, protest against it. Correct. But today, no, we sit in the comfort of our home and we send our signature by just
no, no,
clicking
no,
on it.
no, no. We like, we comment, we share.
We share. That is a very dangerous part. The sharing is a very dangerous part. You see it commenting also, because that is on a public forum, and suddenly you can instigate somebody there or touch on some sensitive point, and the other person can be offended, and it becomes a word of war there. Correct. So these are certain things which all of us have to understand before we decide we want to become. We are citizens. We have, yes, but should we become citizen journalists?
Actually, this actually provokes for one more question. I believe, if I'm not wrong, Mansi ma'am can be the right person to answer this. Where in a day we see more than almost like 3 to 4 million posts will be out on all social media platforms, and there'll be close to 2 to 3 million of videos will be out, close to 10 million photographs, because I heard that photos is the one which takes a major space. So much photos will be posted. Now, so much content is out in a day. Okay, now who's looking into all this stuff at the end of the day?
That's a
How
very
much
interesting
ownership
question.
we own on the content what we are
Yes.
circulating? At the same time, where is that one aspect which is collective, a collective aspect which is putting all of us together and say, yes, on this particular cause, we're just raising our voice? Nowhere. The true citizen journalism is not about your expression. It is about how do you connect and what concept you're trying to raise your voice, and whom you're targeting, and how do you reach that particular goal. I say that, of course, the liberty, the democracy, it is really pleasing. We all are little lucky enough to at least voice out. At the same time, right content and the right platform at the right time is very much essential, which I still believe that, okay, which is happening in a traditional platforms.
Spoken like a true communication specialist, especially into the field of journalism. That's what I would say. Well, according to me, I think today web or online space, digital space has infinite opportunities. I think this is one space which has space for more stories, for stories in depth. Of because any other medium you look at it, of any other medium of communication, it is restricted by space. At any given point of time, like newspapers, you have certain number of pages, you can't exceed that. I can't say that, today is a lovely story, let me have two more pages in newspaper. That's not possible. But in web, I can write how much ever I want. So web or online as a space has infinite opportunities, only because, I mean, one of the reason is also because there is space to write it. And also, today newspaper is, it's no more about news. If we have realized in the last 3 4 years, journalism has changed, print journalism especially has changed quite a bit. It's not about news, because news people can find it on WhatsApp. Don't ask me what kind of news that we get on WhatsApp, but news people get it on WhatsApp. Okay, people can consume it if they start searching for it. They can Google it out. They find it on social media. Of course, the authenticity and credibility is a secondary factor here. But if you're looking at news consumption, that happens on social media. If you look at it, Twitter always breaks the news first 3 seconds before any other platform does. Okay, that's a known fact. So people already know what news is. So today newspapers have changed, the way they write have changed. It's more to do with opinion and editorials, basically taking a stand. Okay, it's no more about breaking news, this is what has happened. Everybody knows that. So here they give you more explanation, and I think, as Prashanth rightly mentioned, you have the depth there. Okay, you can get to have a stand there, and great vocabulary. So what I feel is, what we need today is being conscious about what is going out from a citizen journalism point of view, or whatever that you push out there in the digital media space. Just because it's free, and just because you're free to do things, doesn't mean that you can put things out there. You have to look at, is it factual? Does it correctly represent what has actually happened? And what could be the impact? And is that what is required? Do you really yearn for that impact? So that's something that needs to be looked into. See, let's put it this way. All this while, there was this saying that every story has two sides, your side and their side. I want to say every story has three sides: your side, their side, and the truth. So remember that. Let's all remember that this is what it is. So, and also, as Prashanth mentioned, what I see is, today I see a lack of togetherness. I think Smitha has made it very clear. One signature, like it, comment, and share it, and you're done. Is that what responsibility means? It's so frugal, right? So today I see a lack of togetherness. I see a lack in implementation, lacking the ability to take action in the real world. And with that, I trust me, we can't go anywhere. You can't. That activism is missing. I can't see. I mean, today's students, I can't see that fire in them. I can't see the burning passion. Oh, this is wrong, we're going to stop it. Where? Who has said that? Which college is doing that? Which school is doing that? Which student feels that this is wrong? In Bangalore, we've got this thing, there's something wrong. Hey, don't do it here, do it in front of somebody else's house. Go there and do all these things. That's it. Okay, and this is also the same attitude all over India, in a very different way. Okay, you're doing some, nobody is going to stand there and say you're doing something wrong and I will come and stop you. Nobody is saying that. So considering that, and stay tuned, because we've got more on citizen journalism coming soon. With that, we want to end this episode. Thank you so much, Smitha, and thank you, Prashanth, for coming in. For those of you who are watching, you can write to us on thinkshala@gmail.com. That's THINKSHALA@gmail.com. We're also available on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You can get in touch with us there and tell us your opinion about this entire conversation that we have had, from writing for the print, for the web, from citizen journalism to lacking of togetherness, lacking that accountability and responsibility for the content that we publish. Thank you so much, Smitha. Thank you so much, Prashanth, for this.
Thank you. I would like to add, don't stop writing. It's a form of expression, and it's very soothing for oneself. If
Perfect.
not, you don't get any viewers or readers, but for self, please write.
Perfect. That's great. Thanks so much, Smitha. Thank you, Prashanth.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.